Hello and welcome to the DOGE and Maha News Channel. My name is Chris. In this episode, we're going to focus on DOGE, or the Department of Government Efficiency. We're actually going to look at a news report where they are reporting that Musk wants to abolish the Consumer Financial Protection Agency, or Bureau, I think it is. So let's go ahead and get into this and see what they say.
Billionaire Elon Musk calling for the elimination of the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau on X, writing, quote, "There are too many duplicative regulatory agencies." He is also giving us insight into plans for his Department of Government Efficiency with that comment. So joining us more to discuss, we've got Mick Mulvaney. He is former acting White House Chief of Staff under President Trump and Acting Strategic Advisors co-chair, also former director of the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. Mick, it's great to have you.
Wait, so he was a former director of this agency? That's interesting. Let's see what he has to say about the agency.
Ron, thank you for making time with us. Just want to get your reaction to that commentary from Trump, obviously as former director of the CFPB, but also you were critical of the organization. Do you agree?
I do. In fact, we examined the possibility of whether or not I had the authority to shut down the agency. The lawyers that I had hired actually told me that I could not, and I respected that decision. They did, however, suggest that the President of the United States might have the ability to do that. So the extent that Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy and also Russ Vought, the designee for OMB, can shed some light on this, I think it would be extraordinarily helpful and very provocative.
Why would it be so helpful?
Elon's comments are right on point. If I wanted to be as gracious to Elizabeth Warren as I possibly could be, I'd give her credit for at least the idea of trying to centralize consumer financial protection into one agency, to sort of take the regulatory oversight authority as it deals with consumers from the half a dozen so federal regulators and centralize those, the CFPB. That never happened. What happened was we simply got a duplicative layer of additional regulatory oversight into the consumer financial protection relationship. So,
okay, if I understand this correctly, so this was created by Elizabeth Warren, and the idea was to consolidate the consumer financial protection agencies that are currently out there. Like you said, there's like half a dozen. You can go on Wikipedia and find that out, which I did, because I don't really know about all these agencies, of course. And I went ahead and did some research on this one, and it did say that the purpose was to consolidate these agencies. However, that never happened, which is totally like government agencies, right? They're never going to consolidate. They're never going to say, oh, okay, yeah, I'll let go of my power and go ahead and give my program to you, this new program that's here that's supposed to, consolidate everything. Instead, it just basically duplicated what the other agencies are doing. So, yeah, so why is it even here, right? Why are we doing this twice? Why are we duplicating things in the government? It doesn't make any sense. Let's find out more.
To the extent we're trying to bring efficiencies to the system, either letting the CFPB do what it was supposed to do and take that authority away from others, which is never going to happen, or shutting the CFPB, I'm all in for shutting the CFPB.
So, Mick, you don't.
Exactly what he said right there. Yeah, either letting the CFPB take the authority that they're supposed to have, take it away from other agencies, which is never going to happen, which is exactly what he said, because the other agencies, they're not going to voluntarily shut themselves down, right, and let this other agency take over for them. They want to maintain their power, their little kingdom, their budget, right? And so probably the easiest thing to do is get rid of this new agency and just cut it out.
I don't think there's any risk, just in terms of the fact if we do see this dismantled, that it's going to weaken consumer protections at all?
I mean, show me what regulation couldn't take place, what protection wouldn't exist elsewhere. I mean, that's my whole concern. Again, if I wanted to give credit, it would be the idea of one-stop shopping for regulation is a great idea. They do it in Europe, they do it in Asia. We don't do it here. If you're dealing with consumers, I think it's 6 different federal regulators you have to deal with. If what DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency, which doesn't really exist yet, is talking about doing is centralizing things, I'm all for that.
How effective do you think that Department of Government Efficiency is going to be? And how effective do you think Elon Musk will be in getting his desires like this dismantling of the CFPB through during this administration?
Yeah, one of the weaknesses of this department is that it isn't real. It doesn't exist. It's not statutory. It's essentially a PR campaign right now. It has zero statutory authority. That being said, it's going to have a tremendous amount of visibility. We try.
I think that's a really good point. Yeah, it doesn't have any regulatory authority at all, but it has a lot of public relations authority, a lot of PR authority, especially on X. They're driving this. You know, there's a at Doge on X as well. You can follow them and see all of the wasteful government spending that's happening. And earlier in a video that I did earlier, probably about a week or so ago, Kevin O'Leary was talking about the same thing. He said how they squeeze heads. Musk is going to squeeze heads with X and basically put a lot of pressure on these agencies as well as the congressmen and women that regulate these agencies, or that assign a budget to these agencies. So yeah, that's basically what it's going to be. It's a lot of pressure, but they're going to have some good analysis, I think, behind the scenes. And like he said here, they're going to identify things that are being duplicated within the government structure, and they're going to recommend, hey, let's eliminate this or let's eliminate that. It would be great to have all these consumer protection agencies under one umbrella. So if that's more effective, then let's do that. Let's eliminate the other ones and put them under this one. And just make sure that all of the required protections are still maintained. And then the next step is, okay, how can we do it with less people, make it more efficient?
Tried to restructure the government back in 2018 and failed in large part because we weren't able to sort of build public interest in fixing a bureaucracy that has pretty much, grown stale over the last 100 years since the modern bureaucracy was created during the New Deal. If Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy can shed new light on it and get people interested in fixing the bureaucracy, that will be great. It won't have the authority to do that.
I mean, that's a great point. What he's saying is that he's gonna shed a lot of light on it, and what it's gonna do is it's gonna get us, we the people, a lot more engaged in this process, a lot more interested, and we're gonna put the pressure on our elected officials, our elected leaders, to fix this issue. So I think that's the big difference here. I think maybe when this guy was trying to do it back in 2018, there wasn't that much interest in following it. There wasn't a lot of public support because we didn't really have the awareness of it. Well, now we do. Now we are aware of it. The political leadership does have a mandate from the people to fix this issue, and DOGE does have a lot of momentum. So I think DOGE will produce good results.
MB, the Office of Management and Budget, will have some, but the DOGE will also rely on Congress to pass laws to change civil service rules. So it's going to be an all-of-government effort, but I think that it's got more momentum now than it did back in 2018.
I guess what makes you more optimistic that it does have more momentum now? Because I know you were in charge of government restructuring. It proved to be a very tough job. So why should we be a bit more optimistic at this point?
The debt. I think, to the extent people really, more and more people at least say they are caring about the debt. I don't believe it yet. I don't believe what people say in Washington. I believe what they do. So we'll see what happens if the new Republican-controlled Congress actually reduces spending. They did.
We the people have more awareness. There's probably a lot more of us that are following the story of wasteful government spending than there were back in 2018. Possibly, but the big thing is the actual government officials. What he's saying is that there seems to be more talk among them and more interest among them. I mean, that's the shame of it. Whether it's been Democrat controlled, Republican controlled, there's only been one or two or just a few voices within that government that were actually calling out the government wasteful spending and actually interested in making cuts. Pretty much no one else is interested in making cuts, no matter what party they're from. So finally, I feel like we have a lot of people in government that are interested in being part of this. They see the momentum coming from DOGE and they want to be part of it. Like we talked about the story earlier, where they actually have a DOGE caucus within the Congress right now. Little things like that make it more and more likely that we're going to see results.
Not do that, by the way, the last time they were in charge in 2017 and 18, but at least it feels a little bit different with more people pointing to the debt as a problem. So that's why I'm a little bit more optimistic that maybe they have a better chance. Plus, Elon Musk is just smarter than I am. So where I wasn't able to do something, maybe he can figure out ways to get stuff done.
Mick, how long do you think Elon Musk is going to last in the administration?
Oh, I don't know. That's a question that I get a lot.
That's not really even a relevant question. How long is he going to last? Does it matter how long Elon Musk lasts, whether it's 2 weeks or a year and a half? I mean, it's not like we want him to be some kind of long-term government official, right? Just come in and bring a spotlight and a hammer and a saw and spotlight the inefficiencies and chisel them out or cut them out and move on. And that's what he's going to do. I think he's excited about this project, but I think he's going to be bored once they whittle away the big chunks. There's probably going to become some boredom in some of the smaller stuff, and he'll probably step away.
I don't know. I don't care. I don't care how long somebody's there. I care what they do while they are there. And if
How
he can
effective
succeed
are
in
they?
this, that would be a huge benefit. If that takes 6 months, if it takes all 4 years. But you got to think that this administration, at least generally, is looking at the calendar in two different pieces. The first 2 years, when they know or expect they'll continue to have control of both the House and the Senate, and in the second 2 years, where there's a chance that that won't be the case. So I think you're going to see an absolute flurry of activity on the legislative front here in the first 2 years. So does that answer your question? Maybe the over-under on how long Elon stays is 2 years.
Okay, so I went ahead and asked ChatGPT which agencies the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau was supposed to replace, and they gave me some pretty good information here, so let me kind of go over this real quick. It says it was established by the Dodd-Frank Wall Street Reform and Consumer Protection Act of 2010 to consolidate and streamline consumer financial protections. Before its creation, these responsibilities were dispersed among multiple agencies, leading to fragmented oversight. The CFPB absorbed the consumer protection functions of the following agencies: the Federal Reserve Board, or the Fed. Consumer financial protection responsibilities such as rulemaking for various consumer financial laws, like the Truth in Lending Act, were transferred to the CFPB. Number two, the Office of the Comptroller of the Currency, or the OCC, certain consumer compliance supervisory responsibilities for national banks. Number three, the Office of Thrift Supervision, consumer protection oversight for savings and loan associations. Number four, Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, or the FDIC, consumer compliance responsibilities for state chartered banks. Number five, the Federal Trade Commission. While the FTC still handles non-financial consumer protection issues, the CFPB took over many of its financial consumer protection enforcement functions. Number six, the Department of Housing and Urban Development, or HUD, authority related to the Real Estate Settlement Procedures Act, or RESPA, was shifted to the CFPB. And number seven, the National Credit Union Administration, or NCUA, consumer protection responsibilities related to credit unions. Let's see at the bottom, the consolidation aimed to provide a singular, focused agency to protect consumers from deceptive, unfair, and abusive financial practices while ensuring clarity in regulatory enforcement. So I doubt if any of that happened. I don't think they actually got rid of these other agencies, or probably just, instead of actually taking over, they probably just duplicated what they're doing. And so now we have two agencies doing a bunch of these work, or seven plus the one, right? And I don't think it's really helping to provide clarity and regulatory enforcement. I'm curious, so how many people work for this agency? So let's go ahead and check that out. Okay, once again, I asked ChatGPT about their budget and how many people work there. So the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau has a budget for fiscal year 2024 capped at $785 billion, primarily funded through transfers from the Federal Reserve System as outlined in the Dodd-Frank Act. As of December 31st, 2023, the CFPB had received $315 million of this amount. So that's how much they probably spent in the year 2023. In terms of staffing, the CFPB employs approximately 1,600 people, 1,600 people. The workforce focuses on protecting consumers from unfair financial practices and enforcing federal consumer financial laws. Wow. Well, that's a lot of people. 1,600 people, a budget of $750,000, with a budget of $750 million. And the fact that this agency is basically duplicating 7 other agencies. I mean, yeah, I think there's opportunity to get rid of this, and it won't impact consumers one bit. I think anytime you have duplicate agencies that are enforcing the same regulations, the same requirements, man, it just makes it more difficult for the consumer. It makes it more difficult for the people that are actually being protected. So let's streamline this. You know, in addition to cutting out the duplicative processes, we can probably actually streamline the individual processes within each of these agencies, whether or not we keep the overarching CFPB or we keep the initial 7 other agencies. I mean, I'm sure there's ways that their processes can be streamlined and they can become more and more efficient and reduce their budget and expenses as well to help the American people. So let me know what you guys think about this idea. Is it a good idea? Is it a bad idea? Are you nervous about potential cuts to consumer financial protections? Tell me in the comments below. I'm curious. As you can tell, I'm pretty excited about DOGE and the potential impacts. If DOGE is a story that you want to follow as well, that you're really interested in, well, I've got a playlist right here with all of my other DOGE videos. So why don't you check that out? I just want to thank you for watching the DOGE and Maha News channel. Once again, my name is Chris, and I'll see you on the next video.